2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and oh, man, we're going to zoom right into your listening audience right now. Here we are. I'm telling you what, we got a great book for you today. The book is called Barnstorming, and you go, what? Barnstorming? Yeah, no. Yeah, you remember the biplane wing planes and right where they would do these crazy stunts, right? And what's kind of interesting here, and what I like about this is that I interviewed a Blue Angel on this show once before, right? Who did all these stunt flying and stuff like that. And so, but before the Blue Angels, there were all these men and women who were these barnstormers that flew to daring heights and did dangerous things on their planes, and some of them to their death, sadly. I mean, in some of the early days. Well, listen, Harlan Hammack is a pilot. Now he's self-admittedly not a barnstormer yet, but maybe he will be. But he has studied these folks, and the book again, Barnstorming, a pilot's guide to growing your business. It's just really a great, fun, fundamentally sound, great read that I recommend to any of you in any level of your business. And we're going to talk to him today. But before we get to him, right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to walk you through the 4 areas of your life, right? Look, the fact of the matter is, right, we are 4-part people. We are physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual people. That's just it. I mean, we are. And if we're not working on those 4 areas every single day, the truth of the matter is, as we learn from General John Gronsky and the Special Operations Forces folks that I've interviewed on this show, if we're not growing every day, you know what we are? We're dying. And we have to be on top of ourselves every day in those 4 areas: physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. So I like to rate you on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being my training in these areas is not very good at all, or 10, my training is outstanding and it couldn't be any better. So and physically, so let's take a look at that for a second. I mean, if you were to evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 being average, how would you say you're doing with your exercise, eating right, getting enough water, getting enough sleep, to taking care of your body in general? How would you say you're doing out there, right? Now, listen, whatever your number is, we're not here to judge you on your number, but it's a starting place for you to say, what can I do right now to change that number, right? And so like, if you say, I'm a 4, all right, so what can you do right now, right? To tweak it just a little bit, right? Is it, instead of having a soda, maybe have a glass of water, maybe go to bed a little earlier. Maybe you say, I should be in the gym. Okay, well, you can't get to the gym right now. Why not take a walk? And while you're listening to the show, and just walk a little bit, just get a little exercise. Any little thing that you do to tweak it, right, is just one small movement. That small movement can be a big movement over the course of time. So, right, that's where you start. All right, so you got your first number, your physical number. Second number is the intellectual number, right? We don't want to be couch potatoes that let things come at us. No. We want to be active in our intellectual learning, right? And we want to be learning, how about learning in your business? That's what Barnstorming, right? Great book about how to be better in your business, how to be a better leader, how to be a better person, right? That's growth. That's intellectual growth, right? So what are you doing to stimulate that? How are you doing every day in terms of growing intellectually on a scale of 1 to 10, right? And what is the number you give yourself? And then whatever that number is, again, what can you do to tweak it to get it to go up? All right, then the third number is the emotional number, right? And Daniel Goleman has written tons of books and articles on emotional intelligence and emotional quotients. We make it real simple here on A New Direction. Here's what we do. We ask you just do things. How would you evaluate yourself on being able to control your emotions when you're under stress and pressure, right? Like when you're hangry, can you still control? You know what I mean? Or how about then the second part of that is, how are you able to understand and tap into the emotions of others? That requires this little skill called active listening, where you don't talk and you actually listen. So if you were to combine those 2 things together, how well would you say you're doing on a scale of 1 to 10? All right? There's your 3 numbers. Now you got your 4th number, spiritual number. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not real spiritual, Jay. I'm not really that guy. I'm a gal. I'm not a spiritual person. Well, you know what? If you remove the physical, intellectual, and emotional, what you have left is spiritual. And the truth is we walk by faith every day. You drank your cup of coffee believing that it wasn't going to be poisonous. You didn't even think about it, right? You took that spoonful of cereal, put it in your mouth, and you didn't die, right? You sat in that chair and it didn't collapse. Why? Because you believe it's going to hold you up, right? It's just like the sign, that says walk or stop, right? When you walk crossing the street, when you see it says walk, you're trusting that when it says walk, that nobody's going to come across Nobody's going to come across your lane, right? Because you got faith. We all have faith. But then you have to ask yourself, in the midst of chaos, in the midst of things going bad, what's the first thing you run to? And does it give you peace? Does it give you serenity? Does it get you centered? Right? And for some people, it's God. For some people, it's nature. For some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's something else. The question is it working for you? And what do you need to do to improve it? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your spiritual life going? Right? Those 4 numbers are like the air in the tires of your car. Right? If the air in the tires of your car are too low, you know what happens? The car veers, or the car doesn't run right. You don't get the right gas mileage. It's working too hard, or harder than it should be working, right? But if the tire's at the right level, right, the car runs smoothly. It's able to be more efficient, more effective, and it gets you to where you want to go. And so we want to get our tires to all the right heights. And speaking of someone who's got his tires inflated correctly, his name is Harlan Hammack. He is a highly respected and sought after business and leadership coach and founder of IB4E management consulting firm, who works with executives, entrepreneurs, and small business professionals. He specializes in helping business owners turn common sense into common practice by systematizing their businesses, improving employee engagement, and building world-class teams. He continues to publish his series of books called A Pilot's Guide, which Barnstorming is one of them. And when he's not writing or coaching, Harlan enjoys travel and adventure, including experiencing cultures and, how about this one, cuisines from around the world. You can find more by going to www.ib4e- that's a dash, coaching.com. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, and welcome to the first time ever, Harlan Hammack. Welcome, Harlan, to A New Direction.
Hey, Jay, good to see you. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on. All right. So I enjoyed the book. The book it's not a terribly long read. It's a very quick read, as a matter of fact, I felt. Of course, I read a book every week. So for most people, nice. They're going, Jay, it's actually a little longer. Well, for me, it wasn't. But I enjoyed it. I have marked this thing and dog-eared this thing like crazy. It was actually a fun read. And so what I want to do is I just want to dive in right away. And let's just dive into chapter 1, which is called Growth Through Networking. Yeah. And here's the thing that happened to me today. I was negotiating a contract with a client, and we were talking about networking. And this client of mine said to me, he says, I hear people who've been in business a long time say, yeah, I don't need to network anymore because my network is full. Yeah. And well, first of all, my jaw hit the bottom of the floor, right? Like yours just did as you giggled. I mean, the truth of the matter is, networking is got to be, which is why I think it's chapter 1. It's the foundational, fundamental principle, isn't it?
Yeah, networking is not an event. Networking is something you do all the time in business. Whether you know it or not, you're networking all the time. Anytime you come in contact with people, they're experiencing you, you're experiencing them, you're building a relationship and stuff. And that's really what business is all about, is those relationships.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When we get to business networking, and you have this subtitle called Networking Etiquette. And when I read networking etiquette, I think because we have such a misunderstanding when we go to a networking event, and they're all over your city, yeah. Wherever you're listening. I promise you, there isn't a networking event going somewhere around you, probably as you're listening, and you may even be headed to one. But there is an etiquette to it, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, a lot of people think you just walk in and start giving your elevator speech, right? Your sales pitch. That's not what networking is all about. Networking is building the relationship. Mm-hmm. So introduce yourself to people, talk to people, let them talk, ask them questions, open-ended questions. If you walk up to a group of people that are talking and you interrupt, you introduce yourself and go back to the person that was talking and say, hey, sorry, I walked up, but you were talking about X, and I find that, that topic fascinating. Tell me more. Get them to talk about themselves. If they happen to be somebody who might be an ideal client for you, then start probing a little bit. Ask some probative questions to see if, there's maybe something there for you. If not, enjoy their conversation, talk to them, say, hey, I would love to, interact with you, connect with you on LinkedIn, whatever it happens to be, and then move on and talk to somebody else. But you don't want to jeopardize or take over the conversation. You don't want to walk in and one up everybody. Oh, you've done this. Oh, I've done that 3 times, right? You have those type of people that always want to top things.
Right.
You got to have that etiquette, man. Let them talk, let them say what they need to say, ask some questions to show you're interested in them. And then, the rest of it is all the follow-up after.
There's been a common theme, I think, for the last 4 books that I've done on this show, and yours is another one. And it's this theme of be interested, not interesting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think sometimes we push so hard. Don't you think, Harlan, that we sometimes get to these networking events, we push so hard that we want to be interesting?
Sure.
When we just
you want people to remember you, Well, people will remember you if you allow them to talk about themselves. People don't always get a lot of options to talk about themselves. So if you ask questions about them, how long have they been in business? What do they do? How do they do it? And everything like that, they feel, motivated and excited because they finally got to talk about themselves. You don't want to go in and, like I said, clobber people with who you are, what you've done, how many certifications you have, how many years you've been in business. Nobody cares,
Yeah, I love the question. One of the questions that you ask is, ask the person you're meeting, what would be a good referral for you?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Because a lot of people think you're there for yourself, right?
Right.
Right. But if you come in and just say, how can I support you? Who can I introduce you to? Who are you looking for? Who's your ideal client? And there's that reciprocity thing too. When you start building other people, they want to return the favor. So when you start asking them, who's your ideal client? How can I support you? How can I refer you to somebody? They're going to ask you the same thing.
Yeah. By the way, was it Dr. Robert Cialdini who wrote the book Influence years ago, which was one of the books I read, and he talks about this law, the law of reciprocity, which, by the way, has been around since Aristotle, and it still works. That if you give first, people do feel an obligation to give back.
That's one thing we talk about is the follow up. Connect with people on LinkedIn. Hey, great conversation. Loved meeting you at the meeting the other day. Here's that article I was referring to, or you were talking about this topic. Here's an article that I like, or a book that I've read, or whatever it happens to be. Give them something of value without asking for anything in return, and people will automatically feel that sense of I want to give back. How can I do that?
You have a couple of networking tips, and so I want to kind of just go through a couple of these here. You say, to be successful at networking, you must be able to make conversation with people easily, regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
I am a shy, introverted kind of person normally. And so I would go to networking events and kind of hover along the wall. If there's a punch bowl or a coffee urn, I'd be over there kind of hanging out and stuff. You can't do that. You have to be able to get out and talk to people. And one of the things I like to do, instead of trying to make or create a conversation, is ask people a question. Just ask them to talk about themselves and just kind of grow from there. But yeah, you have to be able to start those conversations, to enter into conversations. And always, I try to make it about the person that I'm talking to.
See, this is the thing. As a psychological professional myself, I think one of the things that introverts actually can have an advantage in a networking event is because they're not really often talkers, but they're great listeners quite often. And I think that can be a tremendous advantage for somebody who's more introverted or shy. If you just ask the question and just listen, yeah. Don't you? You're because I'm a talker.
Yeah. Well, I am too normally, but and on my podcast, I love to ask questions and let the person tell their story. That's I learn a lot from other people's stories and everything like that. So if I go to a networking event, whether it's online or live in person, I'm asking a lot of questions, a lot of open-ended questions, and just tell me your story.
Yeah. There's sometimes I wish I wasn't so much of a talker, to be honest with you.
You're good at it though. You're a pro, Jay.
Thank you. But sometimes I just need to shut up. My wife would say, please shut up. Okay. So the next one that you have, I thought was really interesting, called the "What do you do" conversation. This is a tough one for people when you're in a networking event and people go, so Harlan, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
At dinner parties, wherever. Family get-togethers. So what do you do? Right. That's one of the first questions that comes out. And it's tough. You don't want to just say, I'm a dentist, because that kind of stops everything. People go, I know what a dentist is. I don't really like dentists, so we're done. And they walk somewhere else. If I say I'm a coach.
Right.
Oh, what sport? Oh, no, I'm a business coach. Right. Oh, okay. I think I know what that is. So I'm done talking to you, right?
Right.
I like to try to come up with something else. Here's how I solve somebody's problem, or this is what I do. I went to one networking event and somebody said, "So what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a profit archaeologist."
Oh,
And they go, "What?" I said, "Well, I come into your business. I help you dig to find those opportunities to, increase your profit or increase your revenue."
oh,
They go, "Wow, that's fascinating. Tell me more." Now the doors are open and we're off to the races, right? Try to come up with something. I help so-and-so solve this.
right.
Don't
Yeah,
just tell them your title. Nobody cares about your title. The title doesn't matter. What do you do? How do you help people? So I work with these people to help them do that.
right, right, right. I love that profit archaeologist.
Yeah.
But that was intriguing because
Well,
I
and that's the point, right?
right. Well, I mean, I literally, when you said it, I went, what? No, you're a coach. And then I went, oh, now you got to tell me more, Harlan.
Yeah.
How are you going to dig yourself out?
Yeah.
How are you going
Pun
to dig
intended.
yourself out of that one? Right. I
Yep.
mean, that's clever. That's
Yeah.
really good. I like that. Oh man. See, this is the thing that you talk about in the very next part of that was, crafting your response,
Yeah.
right? Right. You have to craft your response, and you have some great openers. Like when people ask you, you have like, have you ever noticed that? Or have you ever wondered how? Or have you ever been in a situation where,
Yeah.
right? Those are great ways to handle that, when
Yeah. And it gets them thinking. If you're talking to somebody that you think is an ideal client or who works with your ideal clients, right? Networking events, a lot of times you're meeting somebody who has the same client base. If they say, "So what do you do?" "Well, have you ever experienced blah, blah, blah?" That's where I come in. Have you ever, woke up in the morning and stared in the mirror and saying, "Man, there's got to be a better way"? That's where I come in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can craft your response to that, it does get people intrigued to ask, they want to ask, "Tell me more."
Right.
And then you're off.
Right. See, I think there's the key, right? You want that person to say, "Tell me more," because you did that to me with the with the private archaeologist. Oh, tell me more. I got to know, right? I even know what you do, and I wanted to know, right? The story, right? That's beautiful. I love that. Okay, the next thing you have is, and this is so important part of networking, is the networking game plan.
Yeah.
That deciding before you get to the network event what your plan is. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think sometimes we just show up, make sure. Here's what we do, right, Harlan? We get out of our vehicle, we make sure that we've got a handful of cards in our pocket, right, and then we walk in and we go. But you say we need to be a little more planned.
Yeah. I talk about in the book about like planning the campaign, like the Barnstormers did, right? They didn't just show up in a field and start flying around. They planned, what are we going to do? How are we going to get people out here to see us, right? What is our goal for this? Networking is the same thing. You don't want to just walk in, grab a cup of coffee and stand there. Nothing's ever going to happen, right? So you have to decide, what is it I'm going to do? Know who it is you want to talk to. Talk to whoever the host of the event is, or the organizer, or if somebody invited you to come to this networking event, have them tell them, this is what I'm looking for. This is my ideal client. Who around here either is that or works with those people, so I can kind of introduce myself to them. Make a game plan. If like I said, the first couple of networking events I went to, I was shy. I was standing off, just kind of watching everything happen. I didn't really know what to do. Later, you build a plan and say, okay, my goal is to get so many business cards and make connections with so many people in this area. If they're, like joint venture type partners or strategic partners, they work with the same client base that I do, then I want to talk to them and see how can I get in front of their audience and how can I get them in front of mine. But make a plan. How many people am I going to talk to? What is success look like? Is it 5 people that I get their names, or 10 people, or whatever? And then the follow-up, how do I get back with these people and make sure I stay top of mind with them when I get back? So I'm planning my email campaign to them, checking in with them on LinkedIn, making sure we're all connected and everything like that, finding some article or some freebie that I can give to add value to them. You got to have a plan. You can't just walk in and make it up as you go.
Right. Yeah. And then that leads us right into the very next thing. And then that is have a follow-up plan, like a network. You say your after networking game plan.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. You want to have some plan. You go in and collect all these business cards. What do you do when you get home? You just toss them in the bowl and walk away? No. I'd like to make notes on the back of cards. If people give me their cards, I'll make a note on the back of what we talked about, what topic it was. I've got a lot of articles that I've gathered and stuff over the time. If there's something that reminded me of what the topic we were talking about, during the meeting, I will send that to them. So my game plan is make sure I put them into my CRM system, make sure that I connect with them on LinkedIn, make sure that I touch base with them. Hey, great talking to you the other night. Really appreciated the conversation. Here's the article I was telling you about, or here's a good book that goes along the same topic line you were talking about. Something to let them know that you were actively listening, like you said, and remember them, right? You want to make sure that you try to get some information there. But again, plan it. This is who I'm going to talk to, the type of person I want to get in touch with. And then follow up, I'm going to email them so many days after the event, or connect with them on LinkedIn, then email them a couple days after, and then email them a week after, and try to get some kind of nurture campaign almost going to where you stay in front of that person. And at some point after giving value, then you say, hey, I'd really love to jump on a call with you and talk about how we can work together or something like that, right? You don't want to come in heavy-handed. Everybody's gotten those LinkedIn, and I've been guilty of it myself. You get those LinkedIn, things. Hey, great to connect. Here's what I do. Here's how much it costs. Here's how long it takes. Don't do that. Give some value. Give value. Give value. Give value, and then ask, hey, let's jump on a call.
I love that. His name is Harlan Hammack. The book is entitled Barnstorming, Pilot's Guide to Growing Your Business. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, whether you're recovering from an injury or surgery, suffering everyday aches and pains, maybe you're having difficulty performing daily activities, maybe you're a professional athlete who just wants to get better at what you're doing. You know what? Listen, the folks at Epic Physical Therapy will provide you with a customized treatment plan tailored just for you. When you're ready for your epic relief, your epic recovery, your epic results, don't look any further. Look to epicpt.com. That's EPICPT.com. And Linda Craft and Team Realtors. You know what? For more than 35 years, they've been serving the world. They serve the local community in their Research Triangle Park of North Carolina, but they are there to serve you. Their clients call them the legends of customer service. You know what? You need to find out why. For 35 plus years, they've been called the legends for customer service. You can learn more by going to lindacraft.com. That's LINDACRAFT.com. And Hint Water. Yes, they are the official beverage of DBTV, right? So many of you watch A New Direction on DBTV, on now Apple TV, Samsung TVs, LG TVs, Android TVs, and so many more. You know what? Hint Water is the official beverage. So when you're thirsty, get a Hint. Try Hint Water. And we're back here on A New Direction with Harlan Hammack, the book Barnstorming. And we're looking at a pilot's guide to growing your business. And we just got started. We just covered chapter 1. And but we did a pretty good job covering chapter 1, I felt there.
I think so. Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah, talking about networking, I think it's one of those things that has to be perpetual. Don't you? I mean, you just can't stop. You just can't say, well, I've got enough people in my network, can you?
No. And networking, like I said, it's not just an event; it's all the time. Right. You could overhear a conversation in the grocery store, right, and know that person is a client, somebody you could help, and that's a networking event. Hey, sorry, overheard a little bit of what you said. I'm here to help. I'm a private archaeologist. Here's my card. Let me help you. Right? You can anything, whether it's at your kid's soccer game, you're going to church. On Sunday, there's always opportunities to talk to people about what it is you do and how you might be able to serve them. So yeah, I don't think you ever stop. I think it's an ongoing thing.
Chapter 2 is called Growth Through Public Speaking. It is said. Matter of fact, it's I think it's the list of stressors that you go through. It's said that public speaking is one of the most fearful things that people do. Matter of fact, people are more afraid of speaking in public than they are of dying, which means that you would rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy. So I'll let you think about that for a second out there. Actually pretty funny. When you think about it, I stole that from Seinfeld, by the way. So let's talk about this though, because people do have a fear of public speaking, but you talk about Charles Lindbergh actually spoke to promote aviation.
A lot of the early Barnstormers did. Yeah. And that's the thing. Whenever you can get up in front of a group of people and talk, you're automatically on a pedestal, right? They look at you like a guru, like the person who knows, right? This is a go-to expert in this area. So trying to build your business, if you can get out and speak on topics that relate to your ideal customer, issues that they're dealing with, things that they're struggling with, things that are going to impact them from the industry or whatever. If you can talk on those topics, you suddenly become the person that everybody goes, hey, they really understand me. And then they'll connect with you, right? You get up and talk about a topic and And people come up after and say, hey, I really appreciate this. Could you come and talk to our management group? Or, hey, our business is struggling with that. Could you come and help us with this? So just getting out in front of people and talking about those subjects. And, like I said, you got to make it about your ideal customer. Don't go out and just talk about yourself. Don't go out there and try to sell necessarily, but give value, add value. Talk about a topic that relates to them, something that they're struggling with or some issue they're having to deal with. And I think it's a great way to get your name out there and get the recognition.
Well, and it is a business growth thing, right? I mean, people who can speak. And by the way, if you're one of those people who are out there listening to this, go, I could never speak in front of people. Harlan makes real pretty clear here. Practice.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you tell people to practice.
Absolutely. Well, if I asked you about your family,
right?
If I asked you about growing up, that's a topic better than anybody, right? Because you were there. So you could talk about that really easily. Same thing, if you really know the topic really, really well, you can be able to talk about that topic, without stuttering, right? If I ask you nuclear proliferation or whatever, okay, I don't know that topic, so I'm going to stutter and stammer and everything like that.
Right.
So yeah, the more you can practice in front of people, practice in front of the mirror, record yourself and then watch to see how you come across. Get that in your mind. It'll take away that fear because you know the topic so well.
I think also the part of business growth and the speaking thing that you kind of pull here, and I started to think about it later, is you talk about there are so many meetings available in your area that you're not paying attention to, like Kiwanis clubs, Lions clubs, Rotary clubs, local chamber of commerce that you can speak. And okay, maybe you may not get paid for them, but what you've just done is you've put your business in front of them, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, which is, by the way, if you're looking to grow, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of those clubs, they are service-based, right? So they're used to promoting the community and everything. That's why I like those community groups like the Lions Club, Elks Club, things like that. Local Chamber of Commerce, they have a lot of meetings going on. A lot of times they're looking for somebody to come in and talk. I did a local chamber last year before, and it was all on leadership. And so they had different speakers come in and talk about leadership. And so I was up there in front of these folks, and it was amazing. I mean, I got a lot of connections out of that. But it's just an opportunity to tell a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you can help your community.
Yeah, you have some here for ideas that maybe people aren't thinking about for speaking campaigns. You have things like blog posts.
Yeah.
Right. Video. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you put out a good blog post or a series of blog posts on a certain topic that is, again, related to your ideal customer. At some point, somebody's going to say, wow, every time I see this person on social media, they're talking about this topic. Like I did a lot of things about employee engagement, disengaged employees, the cost of disengaged employees, things like that. I had people reaching out to me then and saying, hey, can you come and talk to our management group? Because we're dealing with this right now. So if you can set yourself up again as kind of an expert in that area, people will start reaching out to you, or they will ping you on social media and ask a question, and you can start that dialogue and maybe get an opportunity to go in and work with them. So yeah, blog posts, posting articles that you've read and giving your kind of summary of what those articles are to kind of show that that's in your space and you're the expert there.
Yeah, LinkedIn has done a great job with that, haven't they? They take these little articles and then they let people kind of summarize them, and then man, they put them at the top. It's just amazing how I've seen them do that. Okay, let's move to chapter 3. Okay. Growth through branding.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Because this is kind of a conundrum. Branding is, and you ask the question that we all want to know: what is branding, right? And you say branding is how your business and your products and services are perceived by customers in your target market.
Exactly. Yeah, branding is more than just your colors and your logo and things like that, your polo shirt. Branding is about who you are, what you bring to the table, right? So everything you do, all your social media posts, blog articles, YouTube videos, podcasts, whatever, if they all are on this topic, like mine is for helping businesses, right? Taking common sense into common practice. All of the things that I talk about are related to business. So people can then look at me and say, hey, this guy is a business coach. There's no, question there about what it is that I do. A lot of times you'll see businesses that they say, hey, we're community service based, but then the posts that they put up on social media are everything but, and they're tearing down so-and-so for doing this or doing that. They're not really supporting their brand. They're tearing it down, without actually knowing it. So yeah, branding is who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? How do you help them? And then all the topics supporting that. So the people that look and see you somewhere online, they know this guy is X, right? This guy is a business coach. This guy's going to help me with my profit, my revenue.
Yeah, I think people make a huge mistake. I've written about this before in my first book and in several articles. People make a huge mistake of thinking that their brand is just their business. And when we're on social media and you're on Facebook or Instagram, right, it's more personal. And what you say personally affects what you do professionally. Yeah. Right. Right. I mean, right. Because I live in, for instance, I know this is going to sound so petty. I live in an area here in North Carolina where we have 3 major schools: North Carolina State University, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Duke University. Right. If you go over the top on any one of those schools, the other 2 schools hate you.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I know it shouldn't be that way. I know it should not be that way, but I literally know people who go, oh, well, they're a Carolina fan. There's no way I would do business with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see a lot of that going on. People putting these posts out, blasting the current president, blasting, the sports team, blasting this product. That can really hurt.
It can, because it's a perception, right?
Yeah. And so, that's what I'm saying. If I try to make all my posts and all the things that I do and talk about and my likes and comments on other people's posts, I want it to be about the topics that I deal with. I want people to know when they see something from me, it's dealing with business, how to be better in business, how to improve your business, how to grow your business, something like that. I don't want to go off and be known for that guy that did a 30-minute rant on Snoopy or something like that. Right? I want to make sure that they know when they see me, this is the guy that I want to talk to.
You have 2 really important questions here, and I think we need to just throw them out at people while they're listening. By the way, thank you everybody for listening and watching all over. Appreciate you doing that all over the world, by the way. First question is about your brand. What does your brand say to people? That's a really big question.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people don't take the time to really think about it.
Yeah. What are you saying? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's what is your logo? What is your tagline say? How does it come across to people? Right. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're getting across the message that you want to send, right?
To the right set of people.
Right.
Ultimately. Okay, then the next one is, what would draw a customer to your products or services and away from your competitors? Ooh. Yeah. That's a really good question.
Yeah, and a lot of it, there's a lot of things other than just branding, but that is a big part of it. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're consistent. Do your core values come across in your branding, in your comments you make on your website, on your blog posts and everything like that? Does your values come across? A lot of people say, our employees are number one, but then you see some of the things that they do and you realize, wow, they may say this in their core values, but they really don't live it, right? If you are the most honest, integrous plumber in the area, you need to be that person all the time, so that people know, hey, when they say this, we can really count on them because they're honest.
Here's another piece about branding that you mentioned, and as a guy who studied under B.F. Skinner's last student, I just want to say this is one of the best. The subtitle is called "Towards and Away," and you make the point of human beings make decisions based on several factors, but the primary decision-making process happens subconsciously more than likely. We are instinctively drawn towards pleasure and away from pain. Right. Brands can do that powerfully, can't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you see it a lot. Say Diet Coke. Whenever you see a Diet Coke commercial on television, look at the people in the program there. They're out at the beach. They're out in the park. They're throwing frisbees. They're having fun. They're loving each other. That's the message they get across. And so you think, wow, I want that in my life. If that Diet Coke is what it takes, here I'm going to do it. But yeah, people instinctively, we move towards pleasure or away from pain. And so in your branding, in your marketing, in your blog posts, everything like that, if you're trying to work with somebody, figure out what they're trying to get away from, but then give them that towards also, right? The away from motivator is fast. It happens immediately. If I set your chair on fire, you're going to get up and move, right? That's an away from motivation. I'm walking away. But you're not going to run, to the next state. You're not going to run to Georgia, right? You're just going to move far enough away to where it's not painful anymore. Give them something to go towards. If this is what you're doing, stop that and go here.
Yeah, you know what? This principle of we try to move away from pain is a really, really important principle. And it's been argued in psychology that this is basically how we live, actually. Most of us live avoiding pain, by the way, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you think about it, the cars have been designed to avoid pain. That the annoying bell that you have when you don't put your seatbelt on is to avoid what did you do? You put the seatbelt on to avoid or escape the pain.
Exactly.
Right? I'm listening to that thing. Okay, I got it. Right? How many times you said that in your car? I got it. Okay, I'm putting it on. Okay, shut up. Right?
And now we have the refrigerator dinging because you didn't close the door and the microwave's going. It's like,
right. So it's annoying, right? And so you got to close the refrigerator door. But that's we've built a life around avoiding pain. Yeah. And then it begs the question, is your branding causing pain? Yeah. Do people avoid you because of your brand?
Absolutely possible. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've had to revisit it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you have to question yourself. Maybe people are avoiding me because I'm painful.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at the wording, look at the images you have, look at the, what are you just poking the pain that your customers or clients are feeling? Or are you showing them, people smiling because they've received your solution to the problem? Are you asking them to stay in that pain or just walk away from the pain or move to something better?
Right. And then I think, that other piece is, I think it's knowing your clientele well enough to know, are we really drawing you in or drawing you back in, right? Because you want return people because, you want return customers because that's cheaper, or less expensive than, trying to get new ones.
Absolutely.
So, right. We want to be able to know, are we drawing people, continue that. I just found that fascinating with branding. I mean, it was just a great chapter. So well done. Really well done. Chapter 4, growing your customer loyalty.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
Much more expensive, right? You covered this on one of your earlier podcasts. Much more expensive to get new customers than it is to keep existing customers, right? Upselling an existing customer, getting them to buy more often is a lot easier than trying to get brand new customers in.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about customers, and I'm always hesitant to use these words when we say it, but it's true, and it's a 3-word quote by you. Customers are fickle.
God, they are.
Right.
They are your most loyal customer. Ooh, shiny object, right? Oh, look, squirrel, and they're off on the next thing. So you want to try to get those customers. You want to engage with those customers just like you do your employees. You want to talk to them. You want to find out what they like, don't like. How can we make this process easier for you, right? The customer experience, everything from how quickly do you answer your phone? How easy is it to talk to a human being? How easy is it to order your products or order your service? How easy is it to return products and services? All the way down to how easy is it to refer somebody to you or to leave a testimonial for you. The easier that experience is, people are fickle, people are lazy. If the experience is easy for them, they'll keep coming back because it's so pleasurable, so easy. I don't have to think about it. Everything is right there for me. If they have to come out to your website and dig to find an answer, or if they call and the phone rings 3 or 4 times before a robot answers, they're just going to go to the next number.
And this, by the way, this all plays a part again back in the previous chapter of the pleasure pain principle.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because if we feel a little bit of pain in your process, right, I mean, it's really easy for us not to be loyal anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. If they call and they get an answering machine, I'm not going to leave an answer. I'm just going to hang up and I'm going to call the next number.
Right.
Make it easy for them, right? Somebody, I forget who they were talking about, the more mental process, we're burning calories. We don't want to burn mental calories. Just give it to me. If it's right there, give me a button on your website that says call now, or click here to talk to somebody. When the phone rings, have a human being answer, and direct their call. People love that interaction. They don't want to leave messages and hope for a return call at some point.
Yeah, well, this is the very thing that Amazon did, right? We interviewed one of the previous directors in Amazon on the show. They tried to make everything so easy for you so that because you can't find contact customer service,
right?
Because you shouldn't have to. Everything is already right there, right? you don't have to call customers. There's no customer service to call. Here's the problem. Okay, click, bye. Okay, good. You're good. Here's why you want to return it. Okay, fine. It's right there. You want to return? Return. Good.
Yeah.
It made everything
Everything is right there in front of you. You don't have to think about it. It's laid out well,
Right.
and it's consistent.
Right.
It doesn't change from week to week or whatever. Yeah.
It's just, and I hated to bring up the word that customers are fickle, but they just are. And it's just, and it's any little thing. It's almost like people, I mean, you and I are coaches, but do you get the sense that sometimes I think people are just looking for an excuse to go somewhere else sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, there's always something new, and if they get a little bit frustrated, they start looking around. Well, it's $1 more over there, but you know what? I'm going to go over there. Or so-and-so is offering this now. And they'll call you and say, are you offering this? We have to always be consistent with the work that we do and the products and services we sell to make sure that we're staying on our target. You can't do every shiny object that comes up, right? Can't be everything to everybody.
Right.
But you want to make sure if this is something that all your customers is asking for, or if you think this would help them in whatever it is, if it's an adjacent service or a complementary product or something like that, offer it, But yeah, people are fickle. They're looking for the easiest way to get whatever it is they need. It's not always about price either. It's how easy, how comfortable was it to do this transaction? And if it's a nice, easy, comfortable transaction, they'll pay a little bit more.
Speaking of ease and comfortable and not having to be fickle, you're listening to Barnstorming with Harlan Hammack and me here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Epic Physical Therapy, my physical therapist, I think they should be yours too. Listen, they offer the most advanced top-of-the-line equipment, including the Anti-Alter G, anti-gravity treadmill, the Normatec compression sleeves, Game Ready, that's just a few. They are certified in the most comprehensive cutting-edge treatments like blood flow restriction therapy, dry needling, cupping. That's just a few too. Look, when you're ready for your epic relief, epic recovery, epic results, don't look any further. Look to epicpt.com. That's EPICPT.com. And Linda Kraft and Team Realtors for more than 35 years serving the world. Hey, you know what? They are right now. Linda Kraft is actually hiring more agents for her firm. If you are a agent in the Research Triangle Park area, she would be interested in talking to you. So if you're ready for a change, if you're ready to work for a successful firm that serves the world, I suggest you look up lindacraft.com. Yes, just go to lindacraft.com. She'd love to talk to you. It's lindacraft.com, lindacraft.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Harlan Hammack. You having a good time, Harlan?
I'm loving this. This is awesome.
I told you this is going to be. I told you I was going to put it on a tee. I promised you I would. You write in this chapter. By the way, if you're wondering what chapter we're on chapter 4 called "Growing Your Customer Loyalty," growing through customer loyalty. You make a really important point here in this chapter. You say everyone likes to feel special, like they have access to something others don't, or that they have a deeper, more connected relationship than the average person. Customers who feel special and feel that they want to feel that they're special, they will remain loyal. How do we make customers feel special?
Well, and you've seen this before with the customer loyalty programs, right? The little card you use at Kroger, right? To scan, you get points and it helps you get gas cheaper, which is a big thing these days, right? Anytime you can make your customers feel like they're a special part of a team. A lot of companies have maybe a special name for their big customers, right? They have like a almost like a team motto almost for the customers. If your customers get notified in advance of price reductions before anybody else knows, it's like that velvet rope. They get on this side of the velvet rope before anybody else does. And that makes them feel special and they'll stay loyal to you. So discounts, freebies, early access, maybe an email a couple weeks in advance of, hey, this is coming in, orders now, right? Or order at a special discount price now before the price goes up later. Anything you can do like that to help your customers, they'll be more loyal. We want to feel special, right? Tony Robbins talks about the 6 basic human needs, and one of them is significance and belonging, feeling like you're part of a team, right? That's what you want to try to give your customers in the customer experience.
Yeah, I think this is just a largely overlooked area of growth in business. Is and especially I think more so in the service industries. I think. At least that's my experience, that they're not working on how are we creating loyalty within the service industry. I think, again, I hate using Amazon, but they're so darn good at it. They find ways to keep us loyal to going back to Amazon.
Sure.
Like they'll give you the credit card, and if you buy anything on Amazon, they're giving you 5% back. Right. I mean, they're finding ways to create loyalty. I think in the service industries, we've got to start working on ways to create loyalty as well, because I think we can do it with products. I think it's easier anyway.
I think so. Yeah. And on Amazon, you order something and they have people also ordered this. People who ordered this also looked for this, right? They're recommending things to you. And a lot of that is, in the service industry, if somebody is ordering something and hey, this would work well with this product, offer it. Yeah. Offer it a discount, make a little package for them or something, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's an area, by the way. So if you're in the service industry, I mean, folks, I think you need to work on that. I think Harlan would agree.
Absolutely.
That you need to work on that. Okay, let's jump to chapter 7. Growing your products and service. And you say it's one thing to start a business. It's quite another thing to keep that business growing and thriving, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. First thing, you don't want to try to be everything to everybody, right? You have your niche, you have your zone of genius, the area you work in and stuff. Make sure that everything you do is in support of that. There are adjacent products and services or complementary products and services. For example, if let's say, Jay, you sell Harley Davidson motorcycles. I don't sell motorcycles, but I have this chrome stuff that goes on the Harley Davidson motorcycles, right? So we're complementary. You can have those complementary or slightly adjacent type products and services and everything like that, but don't dilute yourself so much that people don't know why they're coming to you or what they're coming to you for, right? Focus on that area that you specialize in and stuff. There's a professor, I think I talk about him in the book, Newt Hennes, I think is the way you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
he talks about.
Yeah, it's Newt Hennes. Yeah.
Yeah. And he talks about, how in businesses, you either work on innovation or efficiency, and you've got to be strong in both areas. Innovate, look for new things, look for new ways to do things to help your customers. But then you also have to be efficient in what you currently do, right? You can't stretch yourself so thin coming up with the new ideas and let go of the other products you do. You need to be efficient in how you deliver those products and services to people. So you have to have that, that combination. And there's that 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your products and services. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. Focus on that 20%. Focus on that 20% of your products and services and your customers. If you can build your business on that, you're going to grow like crazy.
Yeah, Newt Hennes was also the one, and you quote him saying this too. There are 2 reasons companies fail.
Yeah.
They only do more of the same, or because they only do what's new. Right.
You have to have a combination of both things. You can't just sit on your laurels and say, this is the way we've always done it, right? Because that doesn't work for anybody. And you don't want to say, hey, this is new. Oh, look, this is new. Hey, this is new. There's got to be that balance.
Yeah, because you talk about that. You talk about invention versus innovation, right? You talk about that you need to be inventive, that you should have part of your budget, right? Exploring creativity, right? You talk about that, maybe, adding new products and services that meet customers. And then you talk about innovation, where, right, we're trying to innovate and become more effective and efficient at the process level.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's how you're defining it, is that there's the innovation where we're going to invent something new, but then there's innovation that we're going to take something, I guess would you call it the BASF of your processes, right? Yeah. We don't make the processes, we just make them better. Right. Is that what we would say there?
Yeah. You want to try to innovate, make it more streamlined, easier, take something you've done and use it in a new way or offer it in a new way. Yeah. There's that creative side of always coming up with something brand new, but then take what you have and be more efficient with it.
Yeah, this is the process innovation thing that you talk about here. I thought was just powerful. Okay, so you talk about process innovation and saying that here's some of the questions that you ask: are your processes being documented?
Right.
Are the processes being followed? If not, why not? Right. Yeah. And then what can you do to better enhance their processes? And you talk about bottlenecks and chokes and all sorts of things that can happen in the process piece. This is pretty important, because I don't A, I don't know that people know what the processes are when you
Right.
walk into a business. B, I don't know. I think sometimes they put these processes down and don't recheck them to see if there's a better or faster or more efficient way we could do them.
Exactly. I had a client a couple of years back that you talk to the two owners and one says, well, here's how we do this. We mapped it out. His partner said, that's not the way we do it. Here's the way we do it. And then we asked the guy that actually did the job and he goes, we've never done it that way. Right. So you have that. But yeah, every business runs on a set of business processes. Processes are kind of like a recipe. If you follow the recipe, you get the expected result. Right. If it's a recipe for a chocolate cake, you get a chocolate cake. If you give that recipe to your 10 or 12 employees, everybody ends up with almost an identical chocolate cake.
Right.
If somebody suddenly comes up with banana bread, either they didn't follow the process they were given or they're given the wrong process, right? It's very easy to see what went wrong. It's very easy to see then what needs to be changed or fixed or modified. If people are just doing things without a documented process, if they're just doing it, making it up as they go along, there's no way to innovate. There's no way to make things more efficient because you don't know what they're doing. So figure out what your processes are, document the key processes, the most critical processes to the business, document those, make sure everybody follows those processes and involve your employees. They know what they do. They know how they do things. They know what would make it easier. Find your best employee that does this better than anybody else, document what they do, teach everybody else how to do that. And then you'll have a team of rock stars instead of just one.
I love that. The analogy that kept popping in my head was for years, making baking a cake from scratch with flour and then adding the cocoa and adding the sugar. Yeah. And then Duncan Hines said, we can just put that in a box. Right. Yeah. And it saved, I remember it saved my mom. How much time did it save my mom to make a cake?
Absolutely.
Right. When the cake came in a box and it was just as good as hers.
Absolutely.
Right. And it was actually no fail.
Yeah. But that's innovation. We took something that was existing. Right. We made it a lot easier. So now it's accessible to more people.
And then that's the question that you ask in this book about your business. What can you Duncan Hines it? Yeah. I don't know other way to say that. I mean, but that's what I think one of the things that you also talk about here, and that's bottlenecks. And you make a really good point here too, is that bottlenecks we tend to see at the top. But bottlenecks can be anywhere in the business, can't they?
They can be anywhere. Yeah, we try to map out the business processes to find out. It's not you've seen a flow chart, right? Boxes and diamonds and everything like that. It's not the boxes that you have to worry about. It's those arrows in between, the handoff. I'm handing you something, you're doing something and handing it back to me. Well, then why don't I just do that and do it all here? And then we eliminate that other step, right? There could be bottlenecks where I get something done in 3 days, I put it over on your side, and it sits there for 2 weeks. And then you get to it, and then it gets back to me. How can we make that better? How can we make that more efficient? So look at who's doing it. A lot of times we'll draw swim lanes. What person in your business, what role is handling that particular task? Is that the right person to do that? Can we give authority to somebody else on there that's already touching this piece and have them have the authority to approve or disapprove, whatever it happens to be, before it goes on to the next step? Anytime you can streamline those processes, it just makes it easier for everybody.
I love that. Let's jump to chapter 8. We're down, we're like down to under a minute and a half. Okay. We've been on an hour. It's gone so fast.
It's gone fast.
It always does. I don't know why. Why don't you just devote just the last maybe minute or two to growing your employees and the power of that and why that's so important?
Absolutely. Yeah. Growing your employees. Your business is your employees. If you don't have employees, you really don't have a business, right? You want to take care of them. You want to get them engaged, make sure that they're comfortable in the business, know the business, they're loyal to the business. And again, employee engagement isn't an event. It isn't something that happens one time, right? It's an integral part of your business. You want to make sure that they're engaged. And I had one guy on my podcast talk about the engagement is a lot of businesses think engagement means parties, pizzas, and ping pong, right? No, it's more than that. It's making sure that the customer or the employee feels that they're contributing, that they're doing something that's important, right? The work they do is an important part of the business. So talk to your employees more than just once a year. Mentor them, coach them. If you're teaching them something new, talk to them before and after. How was that? What did you learn? How can we do it differently next time? Coach them through that process so they get better and they get more confident in the work. If you delegate something to somebody, make sure that they're comfortable and confident in what they're doing, so that you're confident that they can do it. You can be hands off, they can take off. That knowledge retention, a lot of times employees will quit a company. They walk out with all the knowledge that they had. A lot of times those employees have knowledge that they haven't shared with anybody else in the business. You don't want them to walk out the door with that knowledge. You want to make sure that you retain that. And the pride of ownership. If they have some contribution to, the business, they feel that pride, and they will take pride in the business, and they'll talk about it, and they'll help keep things clean and operational, functional. Yeah.
That's beautiful. You know what? I've had a great time with you. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it.
It's been awesome.
We'll tell people how to get a hold of you.
They can reach me. My website is ib4e-coaching.com. They can reach out to me directly through email, coach@ib4e-coaching.com.
Awesome. His name is Harlan Hammack. The book was entitled Barnstorming. He was awesome, wasn't he? I knew he would be. The book is great. It's just so much fun. Folks, you know what? That's the show. You know what I say to you every week, right? You're in control of three things in your life, regardless of your circumstances: your attitude, your effort, and your resilience. You're always in control of those three things. I know it may be hard. It may be difficult. You may be going through things right now, but you can control it. Go ahead. Take advantage of it now. Take control of those things. I'll be back next week with another great guest. It's going to be another great book. It's going to be another great show. And as I say to you everywhere, all over the world, thank you and ciao, everybody.